Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today we're going to be ranking the palettes that I tried in the month of April. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. So shockingly, this video is actually going up moderately on time, so props for me. That only took me till May to get on track, but that's alright. I tried a handful of palettes this month, and there was a couple that I dipped into like once or twice, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to rank them, so they're going to probably sit until next month. That would be the Nomad Paradise palette and the Ace Beauté Tropical Vibes palette. But I have, I think, 6 or 7 others to talk about here. The first one that I want to talk about is the Wet n Wild Caring Counts. This is the Care Bears palette that they put out. I think this is a really pretty color story, but I do struggle with the fact that there's a couple of glitters in here. Like, I just don't use pressed glitters, and I really like the shade like this. I think is really pretty, this really soft lilac, but these are quite pastel, and I feel like for most of the looks that I want to do, I want the look to be a little bit more vibrant, more bright, more intense. So I think this makes a good companion palette as a standalone palette for me and how I like to do my eye makeup. This one isn't quite all the way there, but I do think that it's a pretty palette. The next one I want to talk about is the Unearthly Cosmetics Hauntingly Glamorous palette, which looks like this. This palette I picked up when they were running like a 30% off sale, and I was really excited to pick it up, but I feel like the color story is very pretty, but the colors don't build on each other. They don't blend very well together, and like some of these light shades are incredibly light, so I don't feel like they show up very well. Some of these shades, like these two and these two, I feel like there's not as much of a difference, so you can't really blend them into one another. They just kind of start to look the same. So for me, again, this doesn't make a good standalone palette, and I feel like although it has some really pretty deep mattes, it's just they don't blend well together and it doesn't stay that deep on the eyes. So this one was kind of a disappointment for me this month. The next one to talk about is the ColourPop and Hocus Pocus. This is the OG palette. I picked this one up a while ago, but I hadn't reached into it for a little while. I was kind of just playing around with some other stuff, but I ended up reaching into this one finally. Again, one pressed glitter. I'm not a huge fan. I'll probably swap that out for something else at some point. But as far as the actual like eyeshadows in here, like these kind of burgundy shades, the purples, the greens, this Goodbye Cruel World I really like all over the lid. Wench I really like as well. I think this is really pretty as like a sort of grungy neutral palette. Definitely enjoyed the quality of this one, so it ranked a little higher than those other two. The next one to talk about, I was looking at the Musée Now Kylov website, and they had a sale on for I believe 30% off of their palettes, and I was really tempted to get I think it's the Triumph of Venus palette. It's like a black, blue, silver, orange kind of color story, and it got me thinking, like, do I have something similar in my own collection already that could potentially kind of take that place? And I came across this palette that my aunt had picked up for me, which is the Essence Water palette. I'm sure this is long since retired, but it looks like this, and it's got these really pretty kind of slate gray taupey shades mixed with blues. The matte blues in here come across really pretty. I do like this kind of icy white blue duochrome here. I made a look with this, and I think it was one of my favorite looks that I did for the whole month. Now, I ranked it a little bit lower because I feel like versatility wise, you're not going to get as much versatility with pretty much an all blue palette, but as far as the quality and the look that I got with it, I was really impressed. The next one up is the Heather Austin palette. Oh gosh, I've already gotten this so dirty. Yeah, I don't know who lets me adult on my own, but anyway, this is the Heather Austin palette and Adept Cosmetics, and it looks like this. Now, my grudge with this is that I don't think the mattes go with the shimmers. I love the shimmers, and I think even if they had just done a palette of all shimmers, I would have been even happier, because the mattes, like, while these two kind of go together and these two kind of go together, I don't feel like these two go with much in the palette except for like maybe this shade. And then these two, they go together, but I feel like they only really go with this shade. And if you want to use any of this stuff in the middle, the burgundy, oh gosh, sorry you guys. The burgundy does, you know, look nice with some of those shades in the middle, but the thing is then you don't have anything to blend it out with, because this yellow, like yellow undertone of that brown is too warm, I think. So for me, again, not a standalone palette, but I do really like the shimmers in here. The one multi-chrome in here, this like orange that then goes to like green, I don't know if I'll be able to capture it. You can kind of see it there. It's a very pretty color, and I don't have anything like that in my Cleona collection, so I was really happy to play with that for that reason. But again, the math's just not matching up is part of what drove me crazy about that palette. Alright, next up, so these last two palettes are the ones that I dug into the most this past month. This is the Drench Cosmetics and Neon MUA. This is the Lunar Retrograde palette, and I really like the color story of this one. So when I first saw this coming up for sale, I was immediately drawn to like the teals and blacks over here. This kind of duochrome shade really interested me as well, and I like the additions of the purples. To me, the neutrals, I was kind of like, meh, who cares? But I think the whole color story is really nice. I've used every shade in here except the white and I believe this shade Retrograde, which is like a pink with some sparkles in it. But everything else I've used, and I think they blend out really nicely together. I think the addition of sort of this mid-tone brown, this very deep, almost plummy brown, and the black give you a lot of options in terms of smoking out an eye look. The shimmers in here are also really, really nice. They're not like a very thick formula, but I think they have a beautiful like shine and reflection, especially Hello Starlight for the inner corner. Phenomenal. I'm actually wearing that today as my inner corner because the palette that I used for this look didn't have a shade light enough for what I wanted. So this went all the way to number 2 for that reason. And then the number 1 palette for this month is actually the Melt Gemini 2. So I was not a huge Melt fan for a long time. I would say it wasn't that I wasn't a fan of theirs, but I just never really tried much of their stuff, so I was kind of like, whatever. But then when I saw this launch, I was watching a couple videos, and I discovered that I can get same-day delivery from Sephora to my house. And so I picked this up through that just to kind of test that like process and see how it works, and it works pretty well. I think I ordered this at like 9 and it was to my house by like 1 o'clock. I really like this though. It has these kind of like peachy, almost rosy type shades here, and then it goes really, really deep. I love this Schmood shade for all over the lid to give you like a really smoky kind of like red toned peach look. Really like that. And then these 3 shades I've used individually or as like a lower lash line accent, with these shades more as like the like lid colors, and I think those are really pretty. This Matteo shade is so sparkly and pretty. I really, really like it. So this palette kind of cemented for me that Melt is like quickly becoming a brand that I'm really, really interested in. To that end, made me regret more the fact that I didn't have the Amor Eterno collection, and my husband bought them for me. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, you guys. They're brand new in box, and definitely they were more expensive than what they should be, but it's whatever. You only live once, right? So I'm really excited to play with those. I can't wait to do some looks with them. But the fact that Melt's formula is really like more appealing to me, I'm getting so excited to play with some of their other palettes. So that's where we're at with that. And then the only other like honorable mentions I'll give for this month were some multi-chromes that I picked up. This was the Shine by SD bundle that they released, the As Above and So Below collection. So they're all multi-chromes and 12 of them in total. I think the price was like, gosh, like 120, 130 Canadian, something like that. I don't know, it's an absurd price. But I got them without the pans because I didn't think I needed the pans, and I just really like how these looked. This Forest Heart shade is probably one of my favorites. I can't wait to play with these a little bit more, but they've been really nice to pull in with some of these other palettes that I think I've been enjoying the mattes from. Alright, and with that said, that is everything for this month. Definitely let me know if you've tried any Melt palettes, which ones are your favorites. I'm kind of tempted to think about Millennial Pinks. I know that one got like super sketchy reviews, but it's one that definitely calls to me because of the like pink tones in it. So let me know if you've tried that one, what you thought of it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'm going to catch you in my next video.